Hello, welcome to our garden. Today is April 1st. Fantastic day. Me and my son have spent the morning putting sellotape on the toilet seat, basically lots of sellotape pranks, putting it across the doorways and things like that, having a giggle. So it's been a little while since I last done a video. I've just been really busy with work, if I'm totally honest. I've not had a chance to get onto this. So, plan for today. It's getting a bit late now anyway. It's now 5:30 in the evening. But, plan for today. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of what's been going on. We've had some brilliant things happening in the greenhouse. And unfortunately, also had an invasion. Which, hold my hands up, it's my own fault. I made a bit of a mistake. In the excitement of getting into spring, I've been planting, getting everything all set up, doing my garden planner. Fantastic. Neglected some of the more simple jobs, like, for example, the importance of cleaning as you go, tidying your greenhouse out and making sure everything is scrubbed down before you start planting. And I've been absolutely ramsacked with slugs and snails. I'll show you a bit of the damage that's happened, and I'll show you some of the ways that I'm going to combat it for the rest of the season. There's a couple of things that I can do in my greenhouse. Thankfully, outside, not had too much of an issue, but I do massively promote the idea of using the nematode solutions. Nematodes are these tiny little microbial creatures, and what they do is they infect mainly slugs. Slug ends up dying. Doesn't cause any harm to anything else. If a bird eats that slug, it's not going to do any issue to it. And you can kind of keep the solution going. It's a bit gross, but you buy the solution once and you put it down in an infected bed. You just mix it with water, sprinkle it over. I used my strawberry bed because year before last was not fun. At least 4 out of 5 strawberries would be just smothered and I'd never get to eat them. Last year, however, very little slug damage. So what you do, you put the solution down on the plants and all over the beds. The slugs go crawling all over the place, pick up the nematodes, they die. The nematodes then populate the slug itself and multiply. If you collect those dead slugs and you put them in a bucket of water and you leave it for a while, the nematodes then populate it, spread it into the water, and then you've got a big old bucket solution that you can then put on your other beds, which is what I did last year. But I never did anything in my greenhouse, and it would appear this has become a safe haven. I didn't realise it was as bad as it was. But I came into my greenhouse the other day, and I noticed some of my California peppers. Now, I've got quite a few of them, so it's a shame, but, you know, it is what it is. And I thought that was where they were going to go. I went through that bed, cleared it all out, cleaned it, got rid of, I think it was about a dozen different slugs and snails. Got a shot of all of them. They're all gone. Brilliant. I'm a happy chappy. Next morning, the melon mulber. Now, I love my melon mulber, and I don't have too many of these seeds. And I'm trying to do a budget one this year, believe it or not. So I don't want to buy too many. So what I'm actually doing with this one is it's still got a little bit of leaf left. I'm going to do my best to look after it. And this is probably going to come in tonight and sit on the propagator. And hopefully the warmth will give it enough of a boost under the grow lights that it'll be able to get the energy to put out another leaf, and then fingers crossed, but I'm not holding out too much hope. And then they started going after weird stuff, like garlic. I've never known a slug to go after garlic. I don't know if anybody else, any of my viewers have ever had this before, but they started attacking the garlic as well. Oh, I have a bird on my greenhouse. And just one by one, there's another one. This was my most successful looking melon mulber. I don't think that's doing too well now. They went after the tomatoes, although thankfully it's still doing very well. What I'll do in a second, I'll give you a little tour. I have done some things off camera, but they're things that I've done before, and other things where I've had a spare hour in the evening and I just want to get in the greenhouse, want to get out in the garden, start planting things. That's my new cat. It wasn't a bird, it's my cat on the roof of the greenhouse. So we have a little 6-month-old cat who has just started going outside. And apparently, he doesn't know why you shouldn't climb on a glass roof. So I'll get him down in just a moment. But what I'm going to do today is give you a little bit of a tour, how things are going. The greenhouse is doing really, really well, bar the slug damage. Tomatoes are doing fantastic, and next video I'll probably be putting them up into bigger pots and showing you how I do them. Peppers are all doing well, exactly the same for them. Cucumbers obviously are doing absolutely fantastically at the minute, considering they're out here in the greenhouse. And whilst we have had some warm days, today's not particularly warm. 13 degrees, so it's not exactly the warmest. But this is a chill out video. This is a relaxing video where I am just going to plod along, show you a few bits of where we're at the moment and what we're doing next. There will be a video coming out very soon about the tadpoles. The ones in the tank have now all hatched. They are all swimming around. I've got to show you how to feed them and things like that. That'll all be coming in the next few days. I've got a week off of work now. So a week to just concentrate on this garden, making it look really fabulous and getting it completely ready. Beans are all doing really well. I will show you a little investment of what I did buy though, and I'm very, very pleased with these. So I saw Tony Smith gardening. He had these a little while back, and then what's the other chap's name? Come to me in a minute, I'm sure. Ah, Ben Van Voorhees. Saw his one as well, and he used this little device, and it's brilliant. I needed root trainers, and I cannot find for the life of me a pot in Norfolk that is nice and deep. However, what you do with this little contraption is you fold it up, you pop its little bits in. At the bottom, it's got a lovely little flap just here. You push that in so water can get in and out, and you have a brilliant little root trainer. And I'm so pleased with them. I think it was £10, so obviously that's going to get added to my little budget for the year to see how much I've spent. But with this, what I've been able to do at long last is plant up things like my Belotti beans, which all the time, all I've been able to do. Where are my pots? I've been trying to get all the slugs out, so everything's everywhere. I've been putting them in these, which is really wide for what they need and not really that deep. However, look at that. It's brilliant. I'm so pleased. So these went in 28th, so 4 days ago? I don't know. I don't do maths very well. So I've got my Belotti beans in, and I've got my French beans in. The French beans are a bit early. I know. You shouldn't really put French beans in until the warmer part of spring, but I'm quite keen on getting them done as quick as I can because I'd like to get a succession sowing. So these ones are intending to go out as soon as it gets warm. As soon as they go out, I'll spray down the pots, refill them, and put a second set in. So I can hopefully get a second set going. Fingers crossed anyway. Right. Enough waffling. Let's show you where we're at the moment then, shall we? Right, so this seems like a good place to start. So, off camera, these were planted up on the 12th of March. These are all of my beets, my beetroot. There's two types. There's Detroit, sorry. And then there's also, what on earth is that one? Romanesco? I don't know. But there's two different types in here. So, love beets, ever so nice when they're roasted. If you remember a while back, I had a load of onions that looked really bad. Didn't look like they'd do very well. Didn't want them in the bed. However, I stuck them in this tray, and I have successfully got quite a few of them going. You can see I was right with the majority. Well, we're not with the majority. I was right with a lot of them, where they're just not really doing well at all. Although some of them are still springing up, but there are quite a few fails in there. That's fine. We have cucumber. These are all the Tasty King. Yep. So these were planted 11th of January. I brought them out here about a month ago, and I think they're doing very well at the minute. Big old bunch of sweet peas. They're going on one of my trellises because I don't think we've ever grown sweet peas before, but they're ever so pretty. My son's cabbages. This is another thing that I'll need to pot up very soon, which is why there's a nice big space. Ignore the beer. Nice big space just here, there. Then at the back there, we've got all the kale. That's pretty much ready for the bed, but I think I am going to pot it up once more because I've chucked a load of salad in there that will be there for a month. Selection of flowers, which just got decimated, unfortunately. So we've only got one calendula left in there, although I did manage to get another one out and it's doing well. A load of the Elysium, which is the yellow Elysium. Got some cosmos flowers. The violas are just gone. There's a couple of diddy little bits just there, but I'll have to replant them, I think. Corn has shocked me. I have always sworn by putting it in a tub like this, but then putting it inside a plastic bag in the greenhouse. And that's the only way I've ever had them germinate. This year, I thought I'd pop them in like this and see what happens. These guys have already come up, which is really, really good. And then we have also got, as you can see, just there, and then there's another one popping out just there and there. They do seem to be germinating quite well, which I'm very surprised with. The summer squash shows more evidence of the issues I've been having with the old slugs and snails. Unfortunately, this one has really bared the brunt. These were in water. This is why you can see it all like this. It's soft as anything, that is. But I'm going to have to keep them out of water now because that seems to be part of my problem. As I said, French beans, Bolotti beans, so they're in there. And we've got all the damage, which I'm ever so upset with, to be honest. Some more cucumbers. There's also telegraph in there as well. Up here, I planted a short while back the courgettes, the two Black Beauty, and what was the other one? Sure Thing, which is the F1 variety. So we'll see if that works. And then some mini watermelons as well. Because I lost so many tomatoes, I've had to plant more. So you've got the Gardener's Delight, which I did show on camera. And then also the Burlesque tomato, which I don't remember when I planted. We've got some cantaloupes there that have also got damaged by the slugs. Got cucumbers coming up. We've got the chard, and then also some spring onions I can just chuck in as and when, which is good. Oh, over here, we've got the first set of salad mix that will be going out. The one that's already out I'm not really including because that wasn't even proper salad mix. That was just a bag of mixed seeds that I've chucked in, so that's fine. So we've gone for an oriental mix, red leaf mix, a superfood mix. Those three were in a magazine, so they've all come under the same price, which is nice. So we'll see how they are. Then we've got the Lola Rossa, which I'm a big fan of. Ever such a nice salad, ever so tasty. I'm pretty sure that's what this is, but I thought it was a brassica. And then some little gems in there as well. So that's nice. We've got this little guy here, which is a cutting from one of my blueberry plants. And the leaves are opening, so I think that's doing okay. I did plant up some Bolotti beans before I got those trainers. So we'll see how that goes. Replacement melon mulbers are all in here. We've got our basket of fire chilies. Only 2 aubergines have survived. Again, bloody slugs. There were 6 of 2 different varieties, so 12 in total. They're all gone, which is a shame, really. See more damage from the slugs on the sweet peppers. Big Bens. We've got 1 cayenne pepper just there left. Still struggling. This is a mystery to me. This is a giant sunflower. Yep, giant single head sunflower. That's what this is. With an onion in the same pot. No idea how that got in there. Then the tomatoes. Very pleased with how well these are doing. Again, considering these guys are in the greenhouse, they're doing ever so well. So these are the Tigerellas. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these plants look. So these will most likely be in the greenhouse. But we'll see. Beef tomatoes are all doing really nicely. Oh, focus. So we've got 2 in one pot, 1 in the other. I need to separate them soon. And then we've got all 6 of my wife's Roma Italian tomatoes. They're all doing really, really well. Again, the slugs have unfortunately got in here. These are new to me. These are called mooli radishes. My daughter's big into Japanese culture and she loves the food. So I'm going to grow some of these mooli radishes. They grow huge, like nearly 2 foot in length. They're really, really big things. So I'm putting some in here to start off. These have got to go out in a bed soon. And then I'll plant some directly outside as well. I did have my Mexican hat plants here, but unfortunately they have all been eaten. Some more Gardener's Delight tomatoes in there. Again, got destroyed. 2 rows of Chinese lanterns. And at the back, we've got our spinach. But, agreed, the mess. Forget about that for a second. The star of the show. Look at my first early potatoes. They're all coming up nicely. So that is one of the ones that had 4 in it. And as you can see, it is doing really well. It's ever so nice and healthy. These are getting watered every 4 to 5 days. If it's getting warm, if it stays cold for that long, I'll do them once a week. but they are all come up and they are all doing ever so nicely. Shall we have a look outside in the beds then? So for those of you that saw last year's videos, this pretty little bed here had peas on the back, which you can see I've already put some peas in. It had some radishes and salad here, and it had a sunflower there and a sunflower there. Now I harvested the head off of that sunflower, but I left this one for the birds. We have been picking sunflowers out of this for 2 weeks straight. And it's nice, because of the way this soil is, I can take the sunflowers, as long as I'm gentle, I can pull them straight out like that, use the dibber, pop it in somewhere else. But there's loads of the damn things. But yeah, so in here we've got 2 types of radish, scarlet globe in the front, and I can't remember what I put in the back. Diana in the back, but they're all doing quite nicely, which is good. We've got some honeysuckle, which we bought from the factory shop, one of which is doing quite well. This one, however, not so good, but hopefully that'll still survive. In this bed we've got a load more radishes. We go through an awful lot of radishes, as you can see, and we've got some salad again. We're starting to see the difference now with putting it in one of these containers like this and just popping it in the bed. It seems to be progressing very, very nicely. Yep, so that's where we're at with that. Onions have all now come up, which is good. Got some garlic in this one. Got a mixed bag with this garlic. I thought these were very, very nicely sized cloves, and for the majority of them they were indeed. However, some of them, it would appear, there was more than one clove. They had started to split. So I'm not holding out too much hope for nice big luscious garlic bulbs, but we'll have to see. Again, we had another sunflower here. This was the giant one. We did harvest it, but apparently the birds still got some. The broad beans are now starting to come through. Not all of them, but the majority have now poked their heads through, which is really good. But so have the weeds, and so has the bloody mint, as you can see. Not sure what I'm going to do about the mint. This bed, I think, is on its last year. It's got good compost in it. The soil's really, really good. But there's just too many other things in this now. So I might be getting rid of it. The potatoes from the silly quick video I did, they're all still underground. They haven't come up yet. Got more onions all coming through up here. I've just pulled the fleece off of these today, which is why they're all looking a little bit sorry for themselves. Couple of days and they'll all bounce back and they'll all look good. Peas have now started to come up, so these are the Monge 2, so they're looking good. Blueberries and the black currants also looking fantastic. Now, the issue I have here is my pak choi, doing quite well, a little bit more doing quite well. And then we get to where my cat, who, as I said, has just started coming outside, really likes digging. Doesn't go to the toilet, just digs. So yeah, might have to just put some more pak choi in. We've got another one of the broad beans, been pecked to bits by birds, but should still be okay. Rosemary and thyme doing nicely as well. More broad beans doing nicely. These ones are the ones that were planted in the greenhouse in the middle of winter and put out here in February. So these were planted, oh no, these were actually planted 1st of February. So they're doing quite nicely, and again, more salad. And what I'm very pleased with is the peas that we've got in the raspberry canes. Now, unfortunately, I can see beyond any shadow of doubt that some of these raspberry canes are thoroughly enjoying being in here and have started to grow, which is not ideal. But they'll come out, they'll be fine. So the peas are all now starting to grab hold. They're all looking nice and fresh. They haven't been damaged too much by slugs and snails. But again, the cat is just going mad digging holes. So he may find himself being an indoor cat soon if he doesn't leave my things alone. And gooseberries. They're all coming back to life now. This one never produced anything last year, but I'm hoping, looking at the colour of the growth on it, it should do quite well. But I wasn't aware last year, I am now, Caterpillars also very much like gooseberry leaves, so I'll be keeping a close eye on that this year. As for these little beds, so you got the garlic, which was planted 2 years ago. We have, excuse the weeds, we have now got some peas coming up. So this one is Monge 2, and on this side, again you can see some are coming up. These are Kelvedon Wonder. We should have plenty of peas coming up. So, 4th month. We're making our way through. I've just noticed my cat is now on the next door neighbour's shed, and they've got a rather large dog. So he's now making his way back in the garden pretty quick and falling off. Anyway, 4th month of the year. We're now very much in spring. The weather should be taking a nice turn. Here in Norfolk, UK, I believe we're zone 8. So our last frost date isn't until mid-April. We've got a bit of frost coming over the next couple of days, so things like that fleece, for example, on the potatoes will be staying on there. Everything in the greenhouse should be okay. I've been monitoring it. Middle of the night, it's getting down to about 4 degrees, which is a little bit too cold for some of the things like some of the tomatoes and chilies. But everything's managing okay at the moment, so I'm happy just to keep it as it is for now. Yeah, it's brilliant. We're getting there. On reflection, I definitely overplanted in January and February, but I'm glad I did, because hopefully it's going to mean that I'm going to get a slightly earlier harvest for certain things to give me that lift and that bit of a push to get the rest of it done. I'm not too late to start putting in peppers, neither are you. I'm not too late for the tomatoes either. So things like, for example, the Gardener's Delight or the Money Makers, little cherry tomatoes, they can still go in now. There's no issue with that. But having got them in already in January, they're already progressed enough and making their own energy, meaning that when we do get the heat, I'm expecting a big push off of those. I'm going to be trying to make this greenhouse more efficient this year. I've seen a few different people planting things a lot more closely together than I do. What I tend to do for the length of this, which was it 2.2 meters length for my greenhouse, I tend to put roughly 6 cucumbers would go in. Tomatoes would be pretty much the same, 6 of them. I'm going to try putting them a lot closer together, but I'm going to do 2 separate rows. So still kind of keep them spaced out as much, but then have a secondary row spaced out the same amount, but in between. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but it'll make sense when we come to do it. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take all this stuff down. It worked okay last year. I had some cucumbers hanging off of this, which is what I wanted. But I think this year I'm going for more of a staggered progression of my cucumbers. So those ones that I get at the end of the season that are getting a little bit hard, a little bit nutty, I won't need to worry about that because there'll be different ones coming on to that. But yeah, so from me, that's everything. If there's anything you want to see me planting or anything you want to see me do in more depth, please do leave comments. I've started to get some people replied on there, and it is absolutely brilliant. I love the community that's already starting to build. But I do appreciate your time. Thank you ever so much for joining us here at our garden, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. See you later all.